week 3 of the GSTL. This is the Venus day on Friday. We have Incredible Miracle versus ZeNEX. This is the second match of the day. We apologize, there is a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're going to be doing a little juggling going on here. One of our computers is actually getting lag in the game.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we can provide the smoothest possible broadcast to you guys. But we are going to have Core, who just brought it up to 1-1, play against I Am Yoda, a Terran player from the Incredible Miracle team. And they're going to be on dual site.
Yep. Dual site, a map we were just talking about, doesn't have that many bases. It's a map that's got really cool Zelnaga watchtowers in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
Because if you control both of those, you can see almost every attack pattern. There are other ones you can take, but it's so out of your way. Controlling the Zelnaga watchtowers, which look like little mini warp gates on this map, are very, very important.
And there's also those 2 golds that are in the corners of the map. The gold that you generally will take is the one that's actually closer to your opponent's base by air. So it's very easy for your opponent to harass it, but the thing is that your main ground army can defend it a little bit more easily. That's why people go for their base is more in a line instead of just trying to get the natural base, the next one after that, and then go to the gold base, which is in the opposite direction. If you do that, it's further away from your opponent's base, so it's easier to defend against harassment, but it's harder to defend against a straight-up army attack.
Exactly. It's a very good point, Torch. Now, this is a PvT, so we could see some sort of 2-base timing attack on a map like this. You don't normally see huge macro games from Protosses on maps like this, just simply because your bases can be attacked easily, but we're going to jump into it now. I Am Yoda versus ZeNEX Core at the GSTL Venus. Alright, over here at the left side of the map, the new challenger from IM, he is...
I Am Yoda!
There he is. The bottom, or top right, I guess you could say, a member of the team ZeNEX, he is...
ZeNEX Core!
ZeNEX Core.
Showing some very nice PvZ. We can see if he can show PvT in this game.
Well, you say very nice PvZ. The thing is, that last game, I have to say, admit to you guys, we were having a lot of technical difficulties, and I wasn't able to talk as much about it as I would have liked to. He actually should have won that last game, or lost rather that last game. The cannons changed everything, you know, and that makes it a very difficult game to win. But every other choice he made, I didn't really agree with. He was aggressive in a weird way. He was like too late with his attack, and he got lucky a few times, and then when the roaches came in, True's roaches should have been able to kill that 3rd base and then leave. The DTs shouldn't have done as much damage. And I'm not saying that he's bad, but I'm not saying we could see a lot better out of him, so I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to bring to the table this time.
I think the thing is you're analyzing it from a observer, analytical perspective, whereas he was playing it from a sportsman's perspective. He's not just playing the most efficient tactical game he can, he's also playing against his opponent's mental weaknesses as well. So, yeah, his attacks weren't perfect. They weren't executed in the exact way that you needed them to be, but it's exactly what his opponent wasn't prepared for, and that sort of mental game is more important than a lot of people realize.
It is. That's very true. Mental games, mind games, as sometimes people call them, do play into this a lot, because sometimes if you do a certain type of attack, it doesn't really make sense. It's not really as effective. If your opponent isn't prepared for it, or just is kind of thinking about something else at the time, you can kind of mess up. And as you saw there, Core actually making his Cybernetics Core really late, and then he didn't make his second pylon yet. He almost made his gas before his core. I can tell his mind is not in the right place right now, just by looking at that right there.
Yeah.
Core before second pylon. Oh, I'm sorry, he does have a second pylon. My mind is not in the right place right now, Torch, but he did almost make his second gas before, and I couldn't find his pylon.
He is actually getting really nice scouting in here. He got the first probe in. He was able to see that there was just normal gas timing. Everything was going normal by Yoda. And then he gets the probe in again and sees that the tech lab's going up. He is going to know roughly what's going on here. It is actually going to be a Reaper coming out here to scout, make sure that Yoda is actually able to see exactly what's going on Core's side as well.
Very fast Ghost Academy going down for Yoda.
It's interesting to see.
Most likely we're going to see him try to hit a timing attack where he can EMP the sentries at the top of the ramp, follow it up with some damage. He may use that very same Reaper to get vision of that top of the ramp to EMP and make sure he hits the right location.
Yeah, and these Reapers are actually very interesting units. As I was talking about in the last series with FXO, the Reaper came out, and right now it's mainly used as a scouting unit, but it does have a lot of power depending on how it's used. It's just people aren't really exploring it yet because the game is new, and they're focusing more on the important details, or the important overall strategies right now, not the little tiny details to squeeze out every little effectiveness from the units. So he might actually use some sort of Reaper-Ghost combination along with the other tech units like this Marauder that he's getting. However, the Reaper bugging out a little bit. He jumps up, he scouts what's going on, but he isn't actually able to get into the main base of the Protoss player. He knows what building is going to be produced. It is actually a Stargate, and that's going to give him a huge, understanding of what he's going on.
He's going for Cloak. I don't know if you noticed that. He is researching Cloak. I didn't want to cut you off there, but I was like, Torch, say something about the Cloak. He's getting Cloak. There's no Robo. And this actually could end up being very interesting. The Reaper, I know you were saying a lot about the Reaper. The Reaper's good. But basically right now what's going on is I'll explain to you guys. The Protoss saw the very fast tech lab. He also sees the Reaper. He thinks it's a Marauder expand, so he's going Void Rays. Void Ray is excellent against that type of a build. Yep. But against this Cloak Ghost opening, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. This Ghost is going to be able to kill so many probes.
It is going to be able to kill the probes, but the thing is this Void Ray coming out is going to also be able to do a lot of damage. This unit might... Oh, nope, they got away. They almost got caught there. If they were to get caught in the field, if the Sentry could drop a force field down, that would have been huge. But they are going to be forced away. When the Void Ray gets there, Protoss is going to have a strong army, but when the Ghost gets to the Protoss base, he's going to be able to take out a lot of probes like you were talking about.
What's going to happen here, I think, is if the Terran can hold this push, he'll be in a great spot.
Yep.
Combat shields are on the way. He's making another Ghost, which can be quite good. EMPs work really well against Sentries and Void Rays. And he's actually going to send this Ghost forward with an SCV.
Yeah, the SCV is going to poke up, make sure that he knows exactly what's going on, make sure that the Ghost can actually go into safe territory. When he sees that there's no robotics facility, he's going to be very, very happy. Actually try to throw it on a bunker here. This is a good move.
Yeah, and here comes the Ghost.
Cloaked a little early. You want to do that so that your opponent doesn't know what's going on.
EMP! Hold that thought. There's an EMP on all of the Protoss units attacking the bunker. And this Ghost has so much energy. He's taken out a lot of probes here. This is a very awesome and unusual strategy. And now he's able to hold off this attack because he did have that EMP, or at least he's attempting to hold off this attack. He slowed it down at the very least. 2 bunkers are up. This Ghost now up to 9 kills. Core not pulling any probes. Losing a lot here. He did have to cancel that bunker, but this Ghost now up to 11 kills.
Well, the thing is, if you pull the probes here, they wouldn't be mining at all, and then the effectiveness of the Ghost would still exist. And the Ghost is actually able to chase down a lot of these units quite nicely, but the energy is going to run out. What the?
He's just dropping a mule here to tell him, you know, you all in me. I'm not even going to care. I'm just going to ignore you. And he's still killing more probes with this Ghost. 21 kills on that Ghost. 21 kills. And there's absolutely no chance this attack is going to work at the front. There are 2 bunkers up. In fact, he's going to salvage those. He's going to attack.
Yeah, he's actually got a really nice bio army. However, there's a nice force field going down, splitting off some of the units, being able to kill them quite nicely. An EP was shot, but it didn't actually hit anything useful.
He actually EMP'd his own Marines, essentially.
Yeah.
Which has no effect. Now, 3 Cloak Ghosts, though.
Yeah, this is going to be very good. He is actually able just to shoot normally. He doesn't need to use any sort of abilities. Sentries. They do decent damage anyway. You don't need to use the EMP. Those are just awesome.
Sentries are light units, and of course, Ghosts do bonus damage to light units, so he targeted down those Sentries. Now he's got a decent amount of forces. His stim is about 2/3 of the way done. The Void Ray may fall here. Does barely escape.
Very cute move by Yoda here. And
during all of this, the gold base has been taken. There are probes mining there. And essentially, if Yoda doesn't get his head in the game and start getting really focused about what's going on here, he could end up being in trouble because that gold base has a lot of probes mining at it. He's only 6 probes down. He's got 2 Nexi that can Chrono Boost probes out. He does still have a fairly decent-sized army. He's only 8 supply down, rather. Yeah, so he's got to be careful.
It was a very cute move by Yoda to send those Cloak Ghosts in. It didn't do the exact damage that he needed to. However, they are also very expensive. He did invest a lot into it, and I think he might be getting a little overconfident in this game. He's not sending out the scouts that he needs to make sure that there's not the gold base coming up here for Core, which is exactly what Core needs to do to get back into the game, to make sure that he just keeps the army of Core in his base, doesn't worry about any sort of counterattack. The issue is that those ghosts were a great starting move. It's just like DTs. You get in there, you do some damage if they're not prepared for it, but then after that, your opponent's going to be prepared. We have photon cannons in the mineral lines for core. We have a robotics facility coming out, so he's going to get a preserver. So Cloak is going to be pretty much useless for the rest of the game.
He's got a command center up. He's not yet floated it down. He's had bunkers up for a while here. Now he's going to float it down. Checking around with that SUV, just trying to find the army of his opponent, trying to find any pylons, controlling the watchtowers. Right now, Core is behind, but he is not out of this yet by any means.
Yeah, it's 61 supply to 64, so it's almost exactly even. He's actually ahead in probes as well. So Yoda,
yeah, with that chrono boost, with the second command center, of course, being lifted for a period of time, plus making the orbital, he just didn't have the probe, or worker production, rather.
but
This is not the best attack choice here. There are medevacs out, there's stim, there's a nuke in production.
yeah, and this nuke will hopefully come into play. However, there's an army coming in here from Core. It's going to force Yoda to back off. He lifts his supply depot just to make sure there's a bit more of a choke. Very nice EMP right there. He is going to reveal everything. He's going to take out all the energy from the sentries, but this army is going to be able to get in and do a little bit of economic damage before getting taken out.
The problem for Core is that this is his entire army, and he's going to lose it without doing really anything at all. The mule's dropping here because, honestly, this game is essentially over. This attack was a terrible idea. Stim is out, medevacs are out, but there actually aren't any Marines with this army, so that Void Ray was doing a lot. Now the Marines have arrived. He forced some stims, but he is now so far ahead. He's 20 supply up, and essentially he can do whatever he wants at this point with those units because there is no army whatsoever for Core. He's got that gold base, but it's so far away from his production facilities, he can't hold it if it gets attacked. I like this move, though, with the Void Ray. Do a little bit. I mean, do what you can.
Yeah, Yoda doing a really good job, but this overconfidence is actually very, very dangerous. If he did a little less damage in all of these attacks, he would actually be behind because of all the ways that he's throwing down.
Dark Shrine on the way, but with EMPs at the ready, and scans, of course, not
And
far
nukes.
away. I don't think it's going to work. There's a little Zealot counterattack here. I like this. He's going to do a little bit of damage. The Ghost Cloak, they're going to EMP these sentries, or at least attempt to. No, actually, he's just going to nuke.
Beautiful.
And this is going to look. This is looking really bad for Core. I don't know if he even notices the nuke is about to land.
He's got to get out of there, or this is going to completely destroy his army. His entire army is gone. The Terran army is going to be able to move right up the ramp right now and take out everything else. That is going to be it for Core. He's going to pull all his probes, but there's nothing they can do, especially against these forward mules that are just very, very intimidating. Make sure that the Protoss army does not want to fight the rest of the battle.
GG, yo.
Yo, yo, yo. Yo is actually a
I was about to say Torch. That's like not what that means at all, man. Yo is just a polite ending to a Korean phrase.
Yep.
So
yeah, there's a lot of different ways of conjugating the verbs in Korean. And,
basically what he's saying there is like, man, you played really well, and I respect you. And it's GG. It's like saying GG, well played.
Yep, exactly.
So a good game by Yoda. You know, Core made some decisions that made a lot of sense. He made the Void Ray, and he did the Stargate build because he thought it was a Marauder expand. If you go for a Marauder expand against a Void Ray build, it's very, very difficult to stop. You don't have the Marine count you need. Things get out of hand very quickly, but it was just a fake, and it was a fast Ghost. The Cloak Ghost came in there. I love that build order. It's actually something I'm going to talk to QXC about because I think he could pull it off, and it's a great little build.
Yeah, it's something that you can, especially in a series game. This is just, if you lose one game, you're out, and a different player comes in. But when you're playing in an individual league, you can throw a strategy like that out there where your opponent thinks you're doing one thing, and then you do something that counters the thing that they're doing to counter you. Really, really nice play by Yoda. Really nice strategy. That was what is generally talked as a build order win, but it was executed perfectly. Just really, really nice.
It was, I mean, when you see a build order like that normally in a team league, you can tell it's a specific build order. A lot of time it fails, and you sit there and go, oh, well, that might have been a bad build. I actually think it was a great move. I can't stress you guys enough how fast that tech lab was, and when you see something like that, and he didn't even hide it from him, he was like, please look at my tech lab. When you see that tech lab, the first thing a Protoss thinks, or a good Protoss thinks, is Marauder expand. I'm either going to make a Stargate, or I'm just going to have to make a bunch of sentries and just try to force a cancel of that, come and attack. That trick makes, usually when you see that, you don't go Robotech. Because the last thing you're thinking about is Cloak Banshees. You never think about Cloak Ghosts anyways, but it's the last thing you're thinking about. It was a great move. I loved it.
And it'll be interesting to see what they put up against Yoda here. We do know that Yoda's a solid player, and now he's shown that he can put out some
Beyond, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
pretty sure it was Beyond.
with his red shoes. A lot of red shoes coming out today.
Yeah, a lot of red shoes, man. Wizard of Oz getting on everyone's mind. Show me your face. Yeah,
face.
it is. It is Beyond. Absolutely.
22 recorded matches so far. He's got a lot of experience. He was the runner-up for Code A January. A lot of experience here.
Yeah, he's a really good player. He used to use the ID Bleach. He also used to play Protoss. So he's a pretty solid player. He's actually one of the players who switched races and did well with it in StarCraft 2. There are a few players like that, and he's definitely one of them.
It will be interesting to see what he does here. It is going to be on Metalopolis, and that map for TVT is going to be something that you can pull out interesting strategies like what Yoda just did. You can actually nuke from the low ground and hit people's main mining line. There's other things like what people don't realize is that that nuke from Yoda was not intentionally trying to kill.
Yeah.
It's just trying to.
He's trying to force the units to move back.
But
exactly.
they decided that they didn't want to for whatever reason.
Well, there are a lot of different things to think about. A lot of players do their own little defeat celebration by killing their own army to nukes. We've seen that in the past before. You may not have noticed so many other things were going on. There are a lot of things that could have gone wrong there. Like we saw Slog lose to a nuke last week, and these things happen. He just didn't hear it. He'll tell you if you ask him. He'll tell you, I just didn't hear it.
And that's the thing is like when you're playing a game at home and you're all like ready for it, nuclear launch detected. Oh, I should probably do something about that. But when you're playing in the booth and you're microing at 300 APM and there's so many things going on all over the map.
There's sounds going on in the background to cancel out the noise.
You're worried about cloak ghosts coming everywhere, and you've got your main battle. You're just like, all right, well, my army's there. It's able to defend. We're fine. I can force field the ramp. And then you're focusing on everything else.
You're chrono boosting all your Nexi, your forge upgrades, everything else, and then a nuke lands on your army and you go, well, that was the last thing I expected.
Yeah, kind of like a cloak ghost walking into your base right in the beginning of the game.
That was such a good move. I like the bunker as well, because even if you have a ghost in a bunker, it just takes so long to kill it. And he knew his opponent was going to warp in units to defend that. And if you have a bunker there, he has to warp in a lot more units to defend. That slows down his attack because he knew he was going for the Void Ray attack. And
the other key thing is that Marines only have range 5, and when someone brings in a Void Rays have range 6.
The only way is if you have a bunker. He had that one bunker, it wasn't the best spot. That's why he had to make the second bunker. Oh, you're talking about
the ghosts have range 6, so they're able to actually fight back the Void Ray.
I was like, what are you talking about, Torch? There's no Void Rays involved in this.
Wolf in your numbers, 5 equals 6.
5 equals 6, man. When it's in the bunker.
We are going to have Beyond come out here. It is going to be a TVT on Metalopolis, as we were talking about. Interested to see if Beyond has some sort of special strategy lines here, or if he's just going to play sort of standard. Try to say, all right, Yoda, you can play a cute game against Protoss, but let's see if you can do it against a Terran player.
I think most likely what we're going to see from Beyond is actually a macro game. He's done a decent amount of macro games in the past. We could see him do Blue Flame or Banshees, but I don't think his plan will be to end the game like we saw QXC try to do with very complex Blue Flame plus Banshee build. I think most likely we'll see some sort of opener from him that's not a fast command center, but I think he's going to play into the late game. He's going to do a Tank Marine style. Let's find out exactly what he does here at the GSTL. I wanted you to say it for me. The GSTL Venus Week 3. All right, we'll do that next time.